Welcome back to the Growing Together series. Today we have a shorter episode for you that is focusing on what many of us see after our holiday breaks. It's called Back to Routines. Okay.
I'm Anne, an occupational therapist with the Parent-Infant Program in Henrico County.
And I'm Gracia, a speech-language pathologist. Anne and I work together supporting infants, toddlers, families, and child care providers. Welcome back to our show. So we have just a little bit of housekeeping. Wanted to say again that this episode is meant to be short and practical.
So take what's helpful, leave what's not, and adapt it to your classroom.
And as always, reach out to your local EI team if concerns continue. Please remember to complete your survey at the end of this episode so that you can receive your certificate of completion. And again, your feedback is always welcome. So, Anne, why don't you tell us about our agenda today?
We're going to talk about why behavior changes after breaks and what we are going to commonly see in January. We're going to go over some simple strategies that support regulation and what helps most to get back to our routine.
Okay. So we wanted to do this episode because I think all of us are feeling it. January just tends to feel really, really hard.
It's hard for the kids, hard for the teachers, and really all the adults. It's a struggle.
And Anne, I don't know about you, but every time I come back from the holiday, I am feeling just so dysregulated. And I hear a lot of teachers come back and say, what's happening to my classroom? And so I just wanted to let you know that you are not alone. So Anne, why is it that January always feels so hard?
Holiday breaks usually mean later bedtimes. They may have different caregivers and a lot more stimulation. Travel happens and sometimes illness. Things just really get off of the typical routine for the children.
And I also know that young children, we've talked about this in previous episodes, they depend on predictability. So when that disappears, regulation will go with it.
So when a behavior changes after a break, it's not surprising that it affects communication. Behavior is communication, especially after a change.
So what you might be seeing after your breaks. We often hear teachers say things like, he was doing so well before the break.
And that can feel discouraging, right? But
yes.
When you're seeing is re-entry, it's not really regression.
More tears, more movement, less language, and more need for help are all very typical.
When children are dysregulated, listening is harder, language sometimes seems to drop off, and behavior sometimes seems a little bit greater.
And that behavior, again, that is communication. So they are letting you know that they are feeling a certain way. So before we think about expectations or learning goals, we need to go back to basics. We want our kids to, we want to help them feel safe and regulated again.
Right, because regulation needs to come first before learning can happen.
So one of the most helpful things that you can do is to go back to what's familiar. So we are going to gently return to our routines.
Right, let's concentrate on doing the same songs. We're going to use the same cues, the verbal cues, visual cues. Even if progress feels slow at first, just keep up with the same routine and that will get to feel more comfortable for the children.
And it would be a great time to go back if you haven't seen it already, or even if you have, revisit Navigating Transitions, which is episode 2. This really talks about all the things that are going to be helpful with getting children re-regulated. And just remember that we want to avoid new expectations right away. It's not a good time to introduce new rules. We want to reinforce what they already know.
After a break, kids often need more connection before they can meet demands.
And that might look like sitting closer together, playing alongside them, or just being more present.
Connection helps the nervous system settle, and that makes everything else easier.
So you see a picture here, the teacher is sitting right with the kids. She's just playing along with them, making that eye contact, you're not using a lot of challenging language, and just sharing enjoyment with them. That's so important to make those connections. So we reflect back on our last episode, episode 4, and we talked a lot about movement and how important movement is. So we see a big need for more movement after breaks, right, Anne?
Right, because movement can be regulating, so pushing, pulling, carrying, and outdoor play, those things aren't extra, they are really necessary for regulation.
Okay, so movement helps kids reset so that they can participate. Just remember, movement supports participation. So the strategy number 3, make sure to provide them with lots of time to do that.
Yes.
And Anne and I are both big believers in rain or shine outdoor play.
Yes.
It's cold out. Yep, it's cold out there, but they love it. Just bundle them up and get them outside.
Another helpful strategy is temporarily lowering how much language we're expecting kids to process.
Yes, so that would look like giving your directions shorter, using more gestures, and modeling instead of prompting. So that might be instead of telling Johnny to go throw something away, you point to the garbage can and say, I want you to go throw that in that trash can over there. Let him see what you mean by that. Giving directions, just if you want them to get up and get in line, just say line and point to where you want them to be lining up.
Gracia, these are great strategies for children with language delays or sensory needs.
Absolutely.
We talked about that in our last episode.
We did.
About speech and language. Episode 3.
Yes, we did, using lots of visual support.
Right.
Lower the language load, less talking, more showing,
yes.
and more seeing what is expected. Great strategy. So we always want to be patient, give it time. Most children will settle back in within a week or 2.
Some children might need longer, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that something is wrong. Everyone just needs a little different kind of help sometimes.
Don't we all? Your calm, predictable presence is what is going to make the difference. So just letting them know that it does feel different. It might feel a little tricky, but it's okay. We're all in this together. So here are some takeaways from today's short but sweet episode on how January can feel a little bit hard, but just remember you're doing all of the right things. So remember, predictability over productivity. So that means to get back to basics, review the same rules, the same expectations, and don't expect too much, don't put too many demands on them as in terms of workload or expectations. Remember that we want to build on connection before corrections. So what that means is sit down with them, play with them, empathize with them if they're having a hard time. We don't want to be telling them, no, sit down, don't cry. We want to engage with them in a playful, fun way to help them feel at ease as they come back during these hard times. Lower the demands and increase support. So again, don't give them too much to do. Don't, keep your directions and your expectations short and sweet. And if somebody's having a hard time, get down on their level and give them that support that they might be needing. They might have forgotten some things, or their brain might just be focused on some of that anxiety or dysregulation. Importantly, the movement supporting regulation is key. Get them outside, offer them times to get the movement and experience the movement that a lot of them are going to be seeking. They're going to be busy, they're going to be high energy, so go out, bundle them up, and have fun outside. Time and consistency help the most, so really just be patient, relax, give it a little time, and know that you're not in this alone. This is very common, which is why we're doing this episode. Okay, Anne.
January can feel hard, but you are doing the right things. And when routines are disrupted, patience and consistency go a long way. Thanks for what you do for our children and families. We wanted to just share with you again our phone number for the referral line and the QR code that goes to our website that talks more about the early intervention program. And just remember that the families can be referred to get a developmental assessment at no cost to them, and we can let them know how their child is doing if they have concerns, and you can just bring things like this up to the families if you are seeing some things come up in January.
Okay, so we have, before we let you go, again, please take the time to fill out our survey. Your feedback is very welcome, and any ideas or suggestions that you offer us, they are solicited, and we appreciate it. And that also will provide you with your certificate of completion. We have some great episodes that we are planning. In January, Anne and I are going to be working on pulling together an episode on autism for you all. We have some in-house providers who are going to be doing a live in-service, and so with their consent, we're going to be pulling in the information that they have into a nice episode. We might even break it into two. Following that, we're going to do something on screen time,
right,
and the dysregulation. We talked a little bit about that in our last episode, and then we'll have some really fun activities or recommendations for activities and strategies that relate to music and movement and book reading.
Yes, that sounds great.
So please subscribe to our channel so that you will be notified when these episodes are uploaded, and reach out to us with any questions. We are happy to be growing with you one episode at a time.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.